Scotty and Goss on this Monday morning. Breakfast powered by Kubota. Taking on any job with Kubota's mowers, tractors and land pride attachments. And we've already had the news overnight that Josh Rotham has announced he has left the West Coast Eagles. He was delisted. But he did it on his own terms, on his social media, on his Instagram page.
Yeah, handled it well. I think just get in front of it and thank everyone that he needs to thank. But it just reminds us, doesn't it? We talk all year about these boys and we talk about them as players. But this time of year just reminds everyone that they're still humans. It's a tough game and it's a tough time of year.
That it is, and one of our favourites, and we've been spruiking this bloke up when things were going bad for the West Coast, but we were glad that he fought the fight as often as he did, and sadly he was delisted last week as well, and he's over in the States at the moment, and we talk of Alex Witherden, who's currently played 121 games of AFL football, and in the last couple of years, he's almost played every game for the West Coast Eagles. He played 18 last year, apart from a couple of games of injury and being omitted. Witho, appreciate your time and I suppose commiserations. What's the emotion right now that you're not on the Eagles list?
Yeah, g'day, gents. Thanks for having me again, and it's good to chat to you again after catching up a few times over the last few years. It was disappointing to be delisted. I understand the need for some change, and I think we've got some really good senior players already that play at half back in Duggan and Cole and Hunt and these sort of guys, and it's probably time to give some of the younger guys some more opportunity. We've got some really good, exciting young guys coming through. So, no, I understand. I'm disappointed, but I can walk out with my head held high, knowing that every time I took the field, I gave everything, and probably more so during the week, felt like I contributed at a really high level, trying to help the team get better.
Well, you talk about younger guys. You're only 26, so I think there's a few miles left in the tank there for you, Alex. Can you just tell us how that news is told to you, and when was the writing on the wall? Did you think that maybe there was no life after this year for you at West Coast?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one because throughout the years there's sort of fluctuations, and we obviously had a change in coach. So we had Simo, and then the list management team sort of changed a fair bit over the last 12 months. So it's been really hard to get a read on, and just due to all the change, sort of everything's happened really slowly, even with guys like Oscar Allen and those sort of guys. I think ideally those sort of things would be done already, but just because of the change, everything's happened at a slower pace. So it made it really difficult to get a read on the situation. The way of the landscape at the moment is a lot of guys get held over at the end of the season, whereas, in years gone by, you used to either get told you were staying on or delisted in your exit meeting. So we sort of had to wait around for 7 weeks with no communication because the club had no update. So we were just sort of sitting, twiddling our thumbs. And after the trade period on Thursday morning, my manager sort of gave me a heads up that it was likely to go this way based on a few conversations he'd had on the Thursday morning. And then, got a call on Thursday night to come into the club Friday morning. So it was a official Friday morning.
Well, I'm going to take you back to a game, not this season, just gone, the one before. It was against Carlton when the Eagles were at rock bottom. And, Charlie Curnow went nuts, kicked 9, and Carlton pretty much took the piss. And to us, you were one of the very few out there on that field that never gave up, never stopped competing, and cared so much about it, mate. And I think that's, like I said, one of the reasons we loved you, mate, is because you gave your all, every contest you had. And it was great to hear you just say then that you can walk out with your head held high. Is that something that you probably hang your hat on the most, is that every time you're out there, whether you get beaten or not, is that you just busted your backside every time?
Yeah, absolutely. And over the last couple of years, I've been a bit of a gap filler. So, in my last couple of games down in Hobart that we won, I was playing full back on Teakle and these sort of guys that are 202 centimetres or whatever they are. So I punched above my weight and gave it a red hot crack and thought, I was able to halve most of those battles and contribute. And it's probably not my ideal role and position, but did what the team needed. So I felt like that was probably my strongest trait in the end. It's probably why I played so much footy. Scotty, as you just talked about, is my endeavour to sort of give everything and play a team first role in the last couple of years, and I think that's why the coaches backed me in, even when my form sort of fluctuated a bit over the last couple of years.
I think that's one of the things that might make you appealing to someone else, mate. What's your plan? I know you're on holidays. You're trying to get away from it now, and you're in New York, and you got us two knuckleheads ringing you just to remind you what's going on. But what's your plan, mate? Do you want to continue on in the AFL system, or do you think that's it?
No, I'd obviously like to keep going if the opportunity was there. I've been chatting to my manager in Nick Geishan. He sort of said that post-trade period, clubs are now trying to get an understanding of how many list spots they have. And because it's such a talented draft, I know you've probably heard a lot about it already. It might be tight to get onto a list. So whether it's through SSP or having a crack that way, I'm open to it. But in saying that, as I said before, if there wasn't to be an opportunity, I know I've had an absolute red hot crack, so I'm proud of doing that.
And so you should be. So, and playing footy, you're 26, so there's still plenty of time left in you. And if it is not this year, would you go and play? Would you be looking to play at another level in another competition? Do you stay in WA? What's your ties to Perth, or would you be looking to head home or go east somewhere?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's something I'm working through at the moment. I'll definitely have a kick next year. I'll be playing footy at some level, whether it's through a club that helps me get a job or whether it's at state level or whatever it may be. I'm not sure yet what that looks like. I'm still, I still got up early this morning and went for a run, so I'm staying fit. And yeah, I've got a girlfriend who moved over to Perth with me as well, so I've got to be a little bit guided by what she wants to do. So we're over here just working through that over the next couple of weeks, and we'll make some decisions after that.
Let's get raw. Let's just get raw, Alex. Alex Witherden is our guest, formerly with the West Coast Eagles and, of course, with Brisbane. 120-odd games delisted on Friday. Can I just ask you, this is life-changing, isn't it? Income, place to live, work, partner. This is the raw side of being delisted. It's all very well for people to get on social media, they should cut him. And often it's fans who go, he's no good. Why would we keep him on the list? And as Scotty mentioned, this is your livelihood. This is what you do. This is like you're being put out in the public now as an unemployed footballer, and you've got to gather your thoughts. And with your beautiful partner, with trying to get your dollars and cents all lined up, it must be a really difficult time for everybody, not just yourself personally, but your core little village around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm no stranger to social media, so I understand that I've been a player that's copped it over the time from the fans, but I don't take it personally because they're passionate about the game and they're passionate about their team, and their team hasn't been doing well for a number of years. And I've been out there every week and part of a losing side, and at times my form sort of fluctuated. So I understand that. I just hope that they can appreciate, as I mentioned earlier, that I gave everything to the footy club, and every time I stood on the field, I gave 110%. Now I'm in that transition period. It's made I was out of contract in 23 and then out of contract this year, so you're sort of looking over your shoulder for the entire year. If you get dropped, you're never sure if that's the last time you'll step on the field, and when you're trying to set up your life elsewhere, especially over the last few weeks, being out of contract, not knowing what was going to happen, you're just talking in hypotheticals all the time, so it becomes really hard to lock anything in. Fortunately, I've got one unit left in a commerce degree, so I'll knock that off over summer and have a uni degree behind me and 8 years of professional sport and involvement in leadership groups, and done some coaching down at Christchurch and the State 18 program. So while you never feel fully ready for the transition into life after football, I feel like I've done as good a job as possible to set myself up for whatever's next, and hopefully that's appealing to people looking to hire.
No, you're an impressive young man,
Well done.
mate. I've got no doubt at all that your life will unfold in front of you beautifully. You got any highlights? Well, any highlights? What if I asked you 2 or 3 highlights of your time, or 2 or 3 things you're proudest of?
Yeah, getting to 100 games was something I was really proud of. I know I got told when I was younger, don't count your games, make your games count. But when I was coming through the Vic Country system, Leon Harris was our head of football, and he was a bit of a mentor of mine when I was sort of 16 to 18, and he said, once you've played 100 AFL games, you've made it. And that's when you know you've had a proper AFL career. So for me, when I hit that milestone, that was a really proud day, just to celebrate with friends and family. And then just a couple of the little wins along the way. Seeing guys like Brady Hoff and Ruben Jimby and these guys start to flourish in the back half of last year, and just winning a few games against the odds, like the Derby earlier in the year last year. It's just those little wins that probably mean a little bit more to us, that have to grind away and probably deal with a bit of the hardship along the way. So, you just take those and run with them.
And we just saw you overnight. We saw the social media post of Josh Rotham. We're hoping to speak to him tomorrow. You made some good friends, and he was another one who was under siege down back, and the back line had to stick together because the ball was down there a fair bit over the last couple of years. So your thoughts are with your other former teammates who have also now looking for work and whatever that may be.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh is one of my best mates, and fortunately, during this last sort of 8 weeks, we've had each other to lean on. So we've FaceTimed each other pretty regularly to chat through it and check in on each other, because it is pretty emotionally draining. And yeah, I don't want to carry on too much, because there's way worse things going on in the world. So yeah, it was a tough period, but that went fine. So I don't want everyone to think I've got the violin out, but we were really good sounding board for each other, and I'm sure he's going to flourish in whatever he does next, and hopefully does get another gig at an AFL level, because he's got a lot of attributes, and I believe he's, if he gets an opportunity at another team, he can really flourish still.
Another quality person too. Hey, did you get any joy out of Brisbane winning the flag?
Yeah, I did actually. I've got a couple of really close mates there, and to watch them lift up the cup on grand final day was a moment I just sat back with a stubby in my hand, proud for my mates, and it probably highlighted to me more than anything, and the West Coast people and the West Coast fans at home should look at Brisbane as a bit of a model of how quickly it can change. I was there in 17 and 18, and we finished bottom and won 5 games in each of those years, and then the next year we finished second. We brought in Lockie Neal, Charlie Cameron, Link McCarthy, these sort of guys. And I know they probably didn't quite bring in Lockie Neal in this trade period, but bringing in Liam Baker, Matt Owies and Jack Graham sort of had a similar feel to what Brisbane did back then, plus the development of Jimby, Hoff, Marek, Long, all those sort of guys. I can actually truly see the Eagles climbing the ladder next year and winning a few more games, and then before we know it, we'll be talking about them as a top 8 side again.
All right, some quick fire questions for you, Witho, and appreciate your time. Alex Witherden is our guest. He's over in New York with his partner, so we're just going to quick fire ones. Will Harley Reid stay or go after his 3-year deal?
I think he'll stay.
Nice. Why so?
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll leave it at that. But I've got good confidence he'll stay.
Good stuff. Good. That's comforting. All righty. Adam Simpson, good coach, strong coach, had your back.
Yeah, good coach. I think he was a little bit jaded by the end, 10 or 11 years, but his best was absolutely excellent, and I'm glad that everyone remembers how good of a coach he was, because he had a lot of challenges in his last couple of years with player availability and injury, and you can't underestimate how hard it is to coach when you come up with a game plan in pre-season and 12 of those players you base that game plan around aren't fit. So he was a really good coach, and club were very lucky to have him.
Tom Barras leaving after 150 games. When did you get a vibe that TB didn't want to be at the footy club?
No comment.
So that early.
Hang on, mate. You've retired. You're not on the list anymore. You can say whatever you like
you
with
say
those.
round 1 or 2 if you like.
Come on, mate.
Nah.
No, fair enough.
TB, TB, he's a bit of an enigma, so you actually never know what he's actually thinking. So,
Yeah,
well, mate, he told me round 15. He told me round 15 he wasn't going anywhere.
did,
And
to your face.
I don't believe he's going. I don't believe he's going. I know the deal's done. I don't think he's going. He told me, looked me in the eyes and said, I'm not going anywhere.
That's a good point.
He's not going.
yeah, well, he does love Perth, but
Something's gone
I
wrong.
don't know. I was grabbing a beer with him about a week ago, and he was just trawling through realestate.com in Melbourne. So I thought at that point it was pretty certain that he was going.
Okay, so he owns in Peppermint Grove. Where will he live in Melbourne, do you reckon, Witho? Do you reckon he's got sort of Toorak, sort of South Yarra, that type of Brighton?
Yeah, he was looking in those areas. I reckon he might end up in Armadale.
Armadale, not our Armadale.
Very different Armadales.
Exactly right. Hey, Witho, appreciate your time. Right. Hey, mate, we love chatting to you. You've always been very supportive of our show. We've been supportive of you on the footy field as well, mate. There's life after West Coast. There's no doubt about that, whatever that may be. All the best to you and your partner. Enjoy the couple of weeks you've got over there in the States. And if you come back to Perth, we look forward to catching up for a beer. Or if you play on the footy field, we'll look after you again too, mate. Thanks very much for joining us.
No, thanks very much, lads. And it's always been a pleasure to come on and chat footy with you guys. So all the best, and we'll catch up soon.
We will.
I've been where you are, mate, exactly where you are, and all life's okay.
It is.
Life turns out all right.
Alex Witherden joining us, former West Coast Eagle. I don't like the word former, and Brisbane Lion. 121 games and gave it his all in his time with West Coast. Your thoughts, 0487 736 736 or 13 12 55. Alex Witherden joining us on Scotty and Goss.